Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, John, I lost my picture.
Uh-oh. Better go get it. I don't, yeah, your settings look a little weird. If you go to the lower left hand of the screen where it says video,
Mhm.
click the up arrow. And can you go to video settings?
That's just audio. Yep. I have a thing that says start video with a X through it.
Can you click the X? Unless it doesn't recognize whatever you're working on has a camera. That's what it sounds like.
It does. I'm on my office computer.
Wait, who's logging in here as me? Is that Mike? Oh no, he's got the Conservation Commission. I don't know, Chris. Bill, I'm double screening meetings this evening, so if you have technical issues aside from Christine's camera, just holler. All right.
How you doing? Catherine, what time do you have? Catherine? Can you hear me, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, what time you got?
7:02. How about you?
Well, my computer says 7:05 and my other phone says 7:02. So we're getting there. We're getting on the same page. I'm going to call
Same,
the
same
meeting.
time.
There we go. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:02. All selectmen are present. Good evening, everybody. Item 3 on the agenda is hear from the public. Is there any public to be heard? Going once, going twice. Item 4, Selectmen's briefing. I'll try to be brief. Last week, we had talked about CES, Brian Hamill coming in and giving us an overview of the report that they've completed. And unfortunately, he was unable to work this into his schedule. So we'll be doing that next week. Bob Hurd, I put in a couple of calls for him this week. To the best of my knowledge, the last time I heard from him, he is still recuperating from his surgery. And I'll keep you posted as I hear more on that. Unfortunately, our 2008 Public Works dump truck is in the shop again with some major electrical issues. That's the one that we keep doing Band-Aids. We've been doing it. It's in our budget for replacement, but it just seems to be ongoing issues. Every other week we're hearing about it. Memorial Day celebrations are still in planning. Anybody who'd like to help or serve on that committee, please call my office. More the merrier.
I'd like to serve on that committee.
So done.
Thank you.
Babcock Band is back in full swing and conducting their normal rehearsals. So that's always good to hear. And occasionally on a Saturday morning when I'm here, it's nice to hear that music coming out of the Milton Hall.
Are we doing, Bill, are we doing any follow-up on, I'm going to say, payment or making sure that they're able to access monies that, I know we were doing some research when I was sitting in your seat.
We're still researching it and I intend to come up with something. We have not resolved that yet. I
Okay.
understand the situation. I just, right now, kind of priorities on budget and everything, but it's on the
Understood.
list, Catherine. I agree,
Okay,
we have
good.
to address it, get that straightened out.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not have noticed, Public Works is doing cleanup of brush and the dead trees and that sort of thing at our town property at the entrance to Ashford Park. I was down there today. It looks like it's shaping up pretty nice. And last but certainly not least, a very important meeting tomorrow. I encourage everyone to tune in and participate if possible regarding Board of Finance's public hearing on the budget for this year. And I encourage everyone to check your tax calculator, which you can find on our webpage, also on our Facebook page. And there's link information even on our Text My Gov page. But I encourage you to do that because I think it's important that we're all aware of the impact personally on what the implications of this budget is. And I'm hearing, for instance, mine, I looked up and it's just short of an $800 increase. Talked to somebody else in my office today who went up and it's almost a $900 savings. So it kind of depends what category you're in. And what we got to make sure we don't do is paint everything with the same brush. And I think the only way that can be clarified is that if you go up and check for yourself. Now there's two figures you're going to need. One is what your revaluation was on your last property tax list. And then, of course, what your figure is on your latest revaluation list. And if you don't have that reval notice handy, you can go and I'm sure if you call either our assessor's office or our tax collector's office, either of those ladies will be more than happy to assist you. But
The information is available online. I was able to get my information
excellent.
Right.
Online,
online.
excellent.
Totally online.
Roger
Uh,
just mentioned that the information is also available online.
Roger, would you just take a moment and clarify for anybody who's on here or anybody who watches the recording about how you went about getting that information?
If you go to the assessor will give you, there is a query there. You fill out your name and or an address. There's a search, and it will then list your property. And it's only available just for your residence, your property, not other.
It's not personal
items,
property.
Not personal property. And then you have to go to the tax collector. And from the tax collector, again, it's a search you can do there to find out. It'll list your taxes for the last 3 years. But also it tells you, so from there you can get your assessed value prior to the reassessment. The new reassessment.
So the other thing, Bill, is I'm not sure, and I'll be calling the assessor tomorrow, but I'm not sure when the town was fully reassessed previously. In other words, were there any homes that were not included in assessment 5 years ago? Or I thought that we had rolling assessments. I just don't know if everybody got hit. So I'm not sure if some people who had not been reassessed in some time got whacked because in fact the value of their property had gone up or they made some improvements or whatever over those years. So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
do a
sure
double
I-
check myself.
That's a good idea, and I suggest everybody do that. I believe the rolling assessments are more or less done every 2 years. But I'm going to leave that to the expert, and I would suggest you
Yep.
call, as Catherine mentioned, Kara Fishman in our assessor's office, and I'm sure she can give you right up to date information. But it is vital that you know that. The other thing I wanted to mention, these budget books, I don't know if anybody can see that, but they're available in the town clerk's office. I dropped a whole stack of them off up at the school on Friday. We also have them available on a table outside of the town office building in case you're not able to get here during typical office hours. And I would encourage everybody to take a look at these. One of the real, I mean, it's all somewhat interesting if you're a geek like me, I guess, but if you look at the inside, the last page, it gives you some sort of critical snapshot of what a mill is worth and the new revaluation and that sort of thing. And I think you'll find it beneficial to inform yourself. And
Well, has it been put online? Not
it has-
everybody can get that.
it's
It has?
also
Good.
online.
Good,
But-
thank
And
you.
what I mentioned is hard copies that we made, just in case there are people who don't have access to the webpage or able to print them off. So, but I sincerely encourage you to follow up on that. And again, as a reminder, that meeting tomorrow night is on Zoom with the Board of Finance. And you can link into that just by going into your town webpage. Go to agendas and click on the appropriate Zoom link and you can get right in. And if you have any questions about that, just call our office too. Any questions about my briefing? It wasn't so brief, but.
No, that was good.
All right, item 5, accept the minutes of February 16th, 22. Do I have a motion or any questions?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor. And if any of you are if either of you are missing these, I believe Chris got them out. There was some question as to a meeting that we did not have a quorum of the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, that was the 260.
And we
That's the
also
one.
published something on that. explaining that there was no quorum
Okay.
or official meeting.
No, but there was a private meeting, so I have a concern about that. I understand that, you know, again, we're not in discussion on this yet because you need a second. So I'll second it. But what I would like is, I would like it noted that a meeting, an improper meeting was held. You know,
Were
Bill,
you-
if it were me, you'd be all over me.
No.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, you would.
not me, Catherine.
Nah.
Uh-huh,
But-
I've
but
experienced some of it before.
Let me just clarify something. I'm not sure what you call an improper meeting. I was in my office. Karen Zulik, the president of the union, came up and set up in the conference room across the way. And Roger called in that he couldn't make the meeting, and I hadn't heard from you.
I
The
told Chris I
basis of the
could.
discussion that I had with Karen was, it looks like we're not going to have a meeting. There was nothing agreed to, nothing that we hadn't already heard from the union that was going to be up to the discussion. So that's my perspective of it. I guess we can argue that, Catherine, but, and I think Karen would be happy to verify because she had her computer and everything across the hall. When we ended up realizing we weren't going to have a quorum, she packed up and went back downstairs. So there's a motion on the floor that's been discussed, and we have second. All in favor of the motion, signify by aye. And I'm not sure how you handle it because it wasn't a legal meeting.
So, I mean,
And so I don't know how you,
but did it go out as an agenda?
it went out as an agenda,
Okay,
but
It
we
was
did not
supposed to.
have a quorum when on the
Okay.
16th, when we
well,
were calling.
do the minutes merely mention that we didn't have a quorum and the meeting was there by,
That's,
That's
yeah.
all it says.
if that's the case, then
But it does not mention, I would like it noted that there was a meeting held to discuss the union's proposal. Outside of that meeting.
Well, I'm going to vote yes. And
I'll vote yes, as long as that's in it.
I'm going to vote yes, and you can put that in that that's Catherine's opinion. She's certainly entitled to that, but I'm going to disagree with that assumption.
Of course.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay. The regular meeting of March 21st. Do I have a motion?
March 21st. I have one, I have a motion. I have an adjustment to it. So I'll make the motion to approve it with a correction
Is there a
under
second?
item 7C COVID update. It says that I obtained masks from a federal program. No, I obtained test kits from the federal program. So
Okay,
I'd like that correction.
I'll second that with Catherine's correction.
any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, our meeting of March 30th, Board of Selectmen, executive session.
I move to
discuss
approve
ask-
those minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there any corrections or amendments? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay, our next meeting of the same day, March 30th, Board of Selectmen Executive Session, again with ASME. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion or corrections or additions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you, folks. Item 6, hear from boards, commissions, committees, or departments. Anybody to be heard? Paul, you got anything to say?
No, I'm good. Just listening tonight. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, sir. Item 7, old business. Discuss reopening strategies. As far as I'm concerned, we're in status quo. We're operating. We're open to the public. We've got an optional mask policy in place. Seems to be working. What I'm hoping to do is perhaps by our next meeting, our next selectmen's meeting, is do our initial run of our OWL Pro and see how that's going, with the intention that we'll be falling in with other committees and training them in the very near future following that. So if that changes,
good.
I'll certainly let you know, but I think that's the way we're going right now.
That's good, Bill.
Item B, Ashford Advisory School Building Committee. I don't have anything on that. I have not heard from Jim Rupert, who's the chairman. I think it's probably a good idea that we can continue to carry that though on our agenda. If nothing more than keep it fresh in our minds, and when they're ready, have them come to us. Item C is COVID updates. I continue to monitor. I try to send Catherine, you and Roger updates that I get from both the State Health Department and CDC. With CDC, we are still in their lowest category, thank goodness. On a statewide area, we're in the gray area, which is the best area to be in. And with Northeast, although I believe last week we had an uptick of 2 cases confirmed, no hospitalizations. But I think it behooves us, particularly with the talk of this new variant around, just to continue to monitor as best we can and try
Chronicle,
to
the
track.
Chronicle indicated it was 3 cases.
Okay. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the,
Neither do I.
I won't get there. All right, item D, street lighting. We continue to do the applications. We've got the poll numbers, all the information, and we're following the process. I cannot believe how long it's taking us, but it's still on our in our headlights, and we'll get it done. American Rescue Plan, we continue to take input. What I'm thinking of doing, and I know we're talking about in the near future, I'm hoping, hopefully before the end of the month, that we do this public hearing that we're talking about. But I'm thinking before then, we may want a special selectmen's meeting, just to put our focus on that and our presentation and make sure we're all on the same page. Then I'd like to do a publication so we let the public know what they'll be hearing about at the public hearing. And of course, I believe we've talked about it in past meetings, that following that, within the near future of that, after that, we'll call a town meeting and get approval for certain items that are our priorities.
So Bill, do you think that having that public hearing or whatever about the ARPA funding before the end of the month will interfere with the budget process in terms of getting people there and all of that?
That's a very good point, Catherine, and I think we'll get a feel as close as we get close to the end of the month. It's quite possible. I know we all want to get this, and I know there's some projects that is a priority to all of us, like the improvements to the exterior of Milton Hall and to the pickleball court. But I think we've also got to keep in mind that we're in the middle of a pretty critical budget period right now. So we'll
Yeah,
play it by
I'm
ear.
more- Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm more concerned about the air quality in Knowlton
Yeah,
than the improvements outside.
yeah. Well, the nice thing about that, we can leave all the doors open and everything, but we'll have to consider that before we do that.
Yep.
I'm hearing from people, particularly on that, there's a number, and it seems like a higher percentage than I normally hear from, would like to physically attend that. But I think our board will just have to make a determination after we continue to monitor the COVID situation, everything else. As you know, one of the things in our ARPA list is to put in the split units into Knowlton Hall and the library, which certainly
Exactly.
address your concern. So anyway, we'll just have to follow it and play it by ear and use our best judgment. I think I mentioned about Bob Hurd and the Tremco house.
Wait, you have more under American Rescue Plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have discuss and or act on health insurance and incentive.
Oh, okay.
I-
I'm not sure why that's under that, but.
I was just going to say, it doesn't belong under there.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me, I didn't notice that. I
And-
know at the last meeting you asked to be on the agenda. And I guess
Yep.
I was,
And the Route 89 encroachment permit status shouldn't be under there either. So I'd like to make a motion to move those down under, I guess, new business as items, bear with me, I guess,
E and F.
E and F. Okay, so that we kind of have that in the right
Is
place.
there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye,
Hi, thank you.
unanimous. Item F, as I said, Bob Hurd is still recuperating, the best that I'm aware of. And I'll keep you updated as I hear more. Item 8, board commissions committee appointments, inland wetland, as recommended by the chairman of the Inland Wetlands Commission. Fill the alternate vacancy created by the resignation of Ken Gary with Robert or Bob Brizard, term to expire June 1st of 23.
I'd like to make that motion.
Excuse me, Lenny asked that we hold off until after their next meeting because the whole commission, they haven't met. And he would like the members of the commission to meet Bob before they appoint him.
Withdraw my motion.
Okay,
All
we
right.
will certainly accommodate that request. Recreation Commission, we're gonna hold off on that. I've talked to our recreation director and I'd like a recommendation from the committee itself. We also have the potential of another new member joining.
excellent.
And they haven't had a meeting, so we'll carry it on the agenda to our next meeting. Hopefully have that in line for you. Economic Development Commission, reappointment of John Calarisi to a term to expire February of 27. I'm told John has agreed to serve again.
I'm delighted. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? The only discussion is, I'll echo what Catherine said. It's much appreciated. I know John has a full calendar, but his talents are well respected on that commission. I appreciate him re-upping or offering to re-up. All in favor of the nomination, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous, thank you. Commission on Aging, fill vacant seat created by the resignation of Elaine Williamson Pandolfo. The term associated with Ms. Pandolfo's seat expires June of 23. We're still working on that. Item B, discuss speeding
Meeting.
issues on town roads. And Catherine, I'm gonna give you the lead on this because I think it was something that near and dear to your heart, and you asked that we put on the agenda.
Oh, I thought we were going to be talking about where, what we're doing to address them. Okay, so there were a couple of things that I did mention, and one of them was on
The white line on
Turnpike,
Kitterbrook.
yeah, Turnpike and Kitterbrook, to get that white line moved up. It shouldn't be a big deal to do it, I would hope. That was something that was recommended by the safety person. And T2 person, I think it was. And where are our,
Just on that white
Um,
line situation, I did mention that to Joe. And he mentioned to me that it was the state DOT that installed that light, that line. And I asked him, I said, I don't see any issue with that. If he would be more comfortable to consult with DOT, we'd like to get it done. Please do that ASAP and get back to us. And
it's amazing because the stop sign is not on that road. Okay, it is on Kitterbrook, which is a town road.
I'm just reporting what I was advised.
I know. And so this has gone on for the better part of, I gotta think about how long this has been. At least 6 months. No, at least 5 months. So I'm just trying to, follow through on what was advised.
I will give.
And the
into
weather's good.
I will give into the fact that we're just getting out of winter, and perhaps winter had something to do with that, but it's time, if that's our decision, get that done, it's time to get it done. So I'll stay on that, Catherine.
Thank you. And as far as the, we know we get complaints all the time from different people on various roads. So where are the monitoring signs now?
They continue and they're both operational. I checked them last week on
Great.
North Road and on Turnpike.
Okay,
And the intention was, while we're waiting, because I understand we're number 2 on the list to get additional signs from Yukon.
Good.
They're not in yet. I was told perhaps June 1st. But the intention was, as soon as we had the commitment, that then we're going to take the 2 signs that we have on Turnpike and on North and put them on either side of the school. However, we have not got the encroachment permit. Chris has been diligently working and getting all that together. And in fact, I believe she's going out tomorrow with Joe, because I guess that whoever the application goes to are asking for pictures of the existing signs for their files. So we're going to go out and take pictures and everything, but that's our intention at this point.
I was just going to say that the T2 representative that I worked with before was delighted when she heard we wanted more signs. And so I'm glad we got on the list and that we're number 2.
And I have not talked to her. Is that Debbie, is it? Or I haven't talked to her directly.
Yeah, I don't think it's Debbie. But at the time, I guess the other towns weren't asking for more signs, and I did ask, I said, do you have any more? And she said they thought they'd be getting more and she'd get us on the list. So that's great.
The people that have been talking to her, she's verified the same thing. And I understand our status of number 2 is we're in an excellent position to get at least 2 more signs. And I'm
Yeah.
going to beg for as many as we can get. But
Yeah, I'd love to also see them on Route 44.
I live on
Route 44 near, coming off of 74 and coming down into the town.
I know that corner well.
Proper.
I know it more than I want to know it. Every day it's an adventure going through that intersection. We did
Thanks.
get a letter of complaint about speeders on, I believe it was Milton Hill Road.
Yes.
And I have talked informally with the state police and they've given me the same story that we get. I've asked Joe to order more speed signs. We're a little low in that category with our budget, but I told him to get me a price, and if we've got to put that in a special category, we'll do it. I think they're not going to cure the problem, but at least it'll give the state police something to enforce. I'm told without specific speed signs
Right.
that they cannot enforce our speed restrictions. So it's a priority.
Yep.
Anything else on that, Catherine?
No, that was just wanted to see where we stood at this point.
Okay, good.
And it's an opportunity for the public to hear as well. So,
Absolutely. Item C, discuss and act on extension of the Ashford Memorial Park mowing contract for the period of July 1st, 22 through June 30th of 23, awarded or forward consideration to Joe Kalinowski. That was awarded to him in 2009. Apparently he's been holding that price, and he's told me for another year, although retirement may be on the horizon for him from doing that, not this year, but following years, that he's agreed to hold his price. So
I'd like to make that motion.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you. Tax refunds? Chris?
None,
Wow.
no tax refunds.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, I'm gonna go to the two items that we moved to the end of the agenda. Discuss and or act on the health insurance incentive. I'm gonna give the floor to you, Catherine, because I believe we did discuss this and pass this at a previous meeting, but I think you
Right.
wanted to delve into it a little deeper and have more discussion.
Yeah, I got some more information about it. At the time, we didn't have a sense, we didn't have information about how many people were actually taking advantage of this today. And, and if I understand correctly, we have a small number of people that are taking advantage of it. And that's because they have other insurance options. And I'm not comfortable with the number of people that we have, bumping it up to 3,000. So I'm more comfortable with bumping it up a bit.
I think
I would
we
say
actually bumped it to 3,600.
36. Well, I'm not comfortable with that number, particularly since the people who are getting the incentives will still want the incentive anyway. So they're just getting theirs increased dramatically. And in terms of other individuals, if I understand correctly, there's not a lot of others at this point that are interested in taking that incentive. And I know, Bill, you had mentioned that, well, we may have, we have another position in the finance department, or as a, what do we call it? Someone who works for the various departments, fills in.
Floating position.
The floating, yeah. So I don't see our number of individuals increasing. And I don't see it as being anything that anybody who's already getting the incentive is going to change their mind and decide to drop it. So I'm not comfortable with bumping it up to 3,600. I think that 1,500 is a much more reasonable increase. And so I'd like to make a motion that we adjust that to 1,500. Do I have a second?
Well, for me, I just want to know, just,
Yeah, I have a second to discuss it.
oh, I'm sorry.
For discussion purposes, I don't agree with it, but for discussion purposes, I will second the motion.
All right.
Thank
You
you.
got a question, John? Sure.
Just for, again, consistency and what have you. I know there was conversations going on up at the school. And they were also doing the same amount we were. Have they gone to 3,600?
I'm not sure. I know I was advised by the superintendent that was their intention. And
So,
one of the reasons why, and I believe if I heard right, we have, and I'm one of them. And if somebody has a problem with that, I'd be glad to waive any incentive that I may have offered to me. But we only have 3, I believe, that are taking advantage of it right now in town.
correct.
The school, of course, has a lot huger numbers.
Yeah.
And the potential is saving up there. And I don't happen to think before you make the motion is the time to poll people. I understand there were people in this building that polled people prior to us even passing the motion, which I wasn't very appreciative of, but it happened. And I'm not talking about you, Catherine. It wasn't you.
Oh, no, I didn't do that.
I know you did. But we've got at least one position, probably 2 positions in the very near future here that is a potential for somebody to take them, other than people that are taking them right now. If we are, right now, the insurance packages is somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500. Excuse me, $1,000. So if you have only one person that decides to take it or whatever, and it'd be quite honestly, and it'd be transparent, I'm thinking because the partnership program offers so much more to somebody my age with co-pays and everything, I'm thinking of going over to the partnership program.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm thinking out loud, but I think it's more than a savings. But I The other reasons,
So-
I think it's important that we're on the same par
Mm.
with the school on that.
Absolutely.
And
That's
I
why
think
So-
the potential of the savings of the school is far, far more, tenfold or whatever, the potential than it is here for us on the town side of it. And that's why I'm in favor of leaving it where it is. That's my thought on it, Catherine. Go ahead, you had.
So what I was going to say is that it's my understanding that the Board of Education is struggling with the cuts that were made by the cut that was made by the Board of Finance. And that the amount of, bear with me, insurance savings that they thought that they were going to have are not necessarily bearing fruit. So right now, they're going back over what all of this means. And I know that there were, the superintendent provided 4 options for them in terms of how to deal with the 4.2% increase versus the 5.2. And remember, when he first submitted the budget to the Board of Finance, he was talking about achieving pretty high insurance savings. Now, it's one thing to go to the program, but it's another thing if this is included in there. And I don't even know in our budget where this incentive is paid from. Is it paid from the insurance line?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
There would be no special appropriation or a line item. It would be
Yeah,
an
so-
adjustment in the existing insurance line item.
So I don't think that the school is, the Board of Ed is ready with that decision. I don't think it's been made as a formal decision.
That I'm
So,
not sure, but I know what Craig had told me he was going to be recommending, whether or not that's
Understood.
included in the whole package. I will remind everybody here, the last I heard, and part of it is a retirement package. Their rates up there are costing them a lot more for their benefit package, where we're looking at 13 to 15,000 for benefit package. I'm told they're looking at 23 to 25,000 in a benefit package right now. So the potential of savings, if that happens, is much, much greater up there than it is down here, even on an individual basis.
Well, again, we've encountered this thing where, well, we've been giving them $1,200, but we've been doing it for like the last 10 years.
It's longer than that.
Okay, well, certainly, given the savings that we're realizing, it does make sense to increase it. I mean, it's the same sort of conversation we had with farming equipment, and increasing that to 200. I mean, yes, that it's been $100,000 for a long time. And certainly with the price of equipment, it is time for it to go up. My concern is just, in terms of having a consistent policy kind of.
Oh, that's the way I look at it. I wouldn't feel right about us having a $1,500 and then recommending, or that they having a $3,600.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I think the increase in the dollar amount from, in my opinion, was to give more of an incentive to encourage people to do that.
Yeah.
Whether or not it comes to fruition, I don't see where it costs us any money. The potential there is for it to save us some money.
Well,
Now, if, for the 2 or 3 people that are taking it in this building or on the town side,
mhm.
I guess there would be for those people that are already taking it. But that's the incentive. But
Well,
any more, go ahead, Catherine.
as
Sorry.
you indicated, Bill, you're one of the people who gets that incentive.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
$100 last year.
Actually, and in the public, professional world, with the insurance that people are getting, say you've got a married couple. As I explained before, there is $100 a month, essentially fine for if you are able to get insurance and you're through where you work, and you're on your spouse's insurance. Your spouse's insurance will charge an extra $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year.
Yeah, I'm not, I haven't personally experienced that.
Right,
in
I know
my
you
state
haven't.
coverage, or in the town, and quite honestly, I have not talked to our insurance broker about that, so I can't say you're right or wrong either way on that,
Yeah.
Catherine.
Well, I am
In your
not comfortable.
particular experience, it sounds like you're sure of that.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Well,
I know because we get that charge. And we've always gotten that we gotten the charge since they enacted that, which was at least 8, maybe 9 years ago.
I-
So it's the insurance industry doing what they can to, get their pound of flesh.
Well, I think we've discussed, excuse me, and unless there's any other comments or whatever, we have a motion on the floor. If I understand the motion is to reduce this incentive from the 3,600 that we voted a month or so ago to 1,500. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed.
I'm opposed only to the sense that what I would like to do is just proverbial kick this can down the road because, we've got a budget situation going on.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to re-examine this once we get through the
At a
budget
later
season.
date. Yeah.
So
We
Bill,
can-
I'm sorry. So Roger, what you would do is you would make a motion after this one to do that
Yes.
very thing, which is to basically rescind the thing and make a decision once we see what the school has come up with and see if we want to be in alignment with that.
That's what I would.
Okay, so it
Motion
sounds
is
like,
on the
so we
floor.
voted the
On the
motion,
floor. I've called for a vote now.
we did vote.
We have one no, one yes, and 2
Two
no's.
nays.
You want to make another motion now?
I want to make that motion that we reinvestigate this after our, in,
So.
Was me to change it.
For discussion
okay.
purposes. So does that mean if right now the incentive is going to go back to 1,200 or it's going to stay
Yes.
3,600
We'll keep it at 3,600 till we see
and
what,
then revisit it at a
Yes.
later date?
yes, please.
Any other comment?
I would prefer that we brought it back to where it was and then worked with it out on that.
Okay.
Uh,
All in
So
favor
that's
of the
my
motion?
comment.
All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
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 Nay.
One opposed. Okay, folks, thank you. Where are we?
And thanks for entertaining that.
Route 89 encroachment permit status. I believe that's the last one. Chris is working on that. I think we talked about that briefly. She's gonna go up with Joe, I believe, tomorrow because I guess DOT is asking for pictures of the existing site where we intend on placing those signs. But it is moving forward and hopefully we'll be able to get that done. Well, we all wanted to do it much before we are right now, but we'll continue to prioritize and get it done as quick as possible. The only other thing, and I'm going to refer back to Selectmen's briefing, and I apologize, I forgot to mention this. And I asked Chris to get both to you and Catherine and Roger. I got a letter from our sexton, and the letter will speak for itself, but I will probably be inviting him to our next Selectmen's meeting so we can discuss his comments. And I'll wait till you guys get a chance to read the letter.
Was
It-
was the
it
letter,
makes-
was it
Beg
sent out to us?
I found out tonight, we just got it on the 30th. I assumed that you folks had been forwarded it, but I found out today you hadn't.
Okay.
So I've asked that that be done. It's
I
nothing
wonder-
earth shattering. It's not a resignation. It's nothing like that. It's just some recommendation that Jim is bringing forward.
I have one more thing, if I could get it on, we could discuss it tonight, or at least at the next meeting, is that the Sustainable Connecticut is something that, we are quite supportive of, if I understand correctly. And and I know that Kit, our senior center director and agent for the elderly, has been working with them. And it's come to my attention that there's an opportunity for her to be Sustainable Connecticut, for our town, Sustainable Connecticut, I don't know, advocate for the poor, something like that. And she wanted to put something out on the town website to let people know about this program or something like that. And that was pushed back because she doesn't have that in her job description. However, in her job description, I believe, and I'll have to take a look, and maybe Bill, you can check, there is something that says on any other kinds of duties or whatever that are supportive of the community, something like that. And I'm disappointed that they weren't able to get the information out on the town website about this, because I think it's important information. And that the reason is that she wasn't, hadn't been put in that position to do that. Now she's going to, I know Kit, she's going to do whatever she can to be helpful to Sustainable Connecticut, whether she's doing it as part of her job or doing it on her own time. And I think it's something that's valuable for the town. So, you know, maybe we can get some more information and talk about it at our next meeting, but I wanted to make sure that if you weren't aware, Bill, that is what happened. I don't know if you were part of the decision-making on that.
No, and
Okay.
I'm not sure what pushback you're referring to, but and I believe all of our job descriptions are written in such a way that there's certain levity there at the discretion of their immediate supervisor, which in this case is the first selectman, that we can do
Right.
some sort of special assignments.
So if,
But it's the first I've heard of it. I would suggest if she could send us an email with what she has in mind, and I would be more than happy. I noticed we don't have it on the agenda, and I think at the last
yeah,
meeting, you asked
Yeah.
that we put something on for agenda items for the next meeting, and I'm more than happy to do a little research and also include that in our next agenda.
that would be
Okay.
terrific. Thank you.
Kit talks about it on page 25 of this month's Ashford Citizen,
Good.
under the municipal agent for the elderly.
Tonight.
Okay. I've got nothing personal from Kit, but I can't see why any of us would object to trying to expand on that. We've been working with several people on the sustainable, and I think our goal is to get us another award on it. So anything we can do to
Exactly.
help with that.
Exactly. And they're working hard on it.
Yeah. Any other comments for the good of the board?
We adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Thank you, folks. We're adjourned. Have a good evening.